just about to start, so I'm just waiting for some more of our audience to kind of come in, and then we can start talking. Those of you who have already been here, you know what this is. It is reflected on my story page since yesterday evening, and this series is called Talk to Me, and this is something which I thought of initiating some time back, not very long, been a couple of weeks only. This is going to be my third episode, and I'm sure it will be as enjoyable and insightful as the other sessions that we have done. Conversations, I wouldn't say sessions actually, it sounds very boring and very official. So I see a lot of my friends coming in. Please, you're most welcome. Make yourself comfortable. Maybe get yourself some tea, coffee, whatever suits you. It's extremely hot and humid in Kolkata, and I am going to sweat through the session, literally. So, uh, I'm sure you will also kind of enjoy it within your space. I'm sure. I think definitely a lot of you have conditioning at your place, and it's a nice feeling. Currently, I don't yet have that privilege, so I'm kind of. I've stayed most of my time in the west and north, so east is a little newer experience for me at the moment. Although I grew up here, so it's going to take a little time for me to settle with it. So before I think I have my guest today, I want to kind of say two things, very important two things, which I thought I should share with the audience. One is that whether we should do a weekly session or not, it is kind of becoming a little bit of a routine, which I am not personally liking. I don't like routines as much, and I feel that a conversation as casual and conversational and easy as it is, as the Talk to Me sessions are, we don't we don't need to have a routine. It shouldn't be like Saturday this time and every Saturday of the week. It's like always like doing this. I will definitely keep everybody posted. It is going to go up on my story whenever I will want to do one. I'll try to do about 3 or 4 each month, but I want to keep it flexible. So that's one thing which I felt very strongly about, and I thought it will be important that I share this. The other thing which I want to also kind of mention, and I reflected it last week, was whether I should save these conversations. Now, there's a technicality bit which is separate, which is that a conversation which I'm having right now can be saved, but a conversation the moment I have a guest cannot be saved. It's a Instagram technicality. Maybe if some of you know better, please let me know. That is one part of it. But the other thing is that in the spirit of the conversation, the whole idea of this series and having to talk to people, it's like talk to people. It's not I mean, talking to me is like talking to the self, so I'm inviting another self to talk to another self. So it's a conversation, and we don't record conversations every time we do it, right? So I feel it is very, very important to appreciate that impermanence of the conversation and just let it be. And I definitely don't want to record any of these conversations. They will stay on my story for a day. That's how it kind of goes. But beyond that, it is not there. So that's about it. And we'll live with that. So let me now let our guest in. You can see his Instagram handle as wandering_Baba, and there he is.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Yes, you're most welcome. I'm happy, definitely more than happy actually, to have you over today. I wish it was more physical than digital, nonetheless. But
At least we are
it's
getting a
okay.
chance to interact.
Yeah, and that's, I think, a beautiful thing. That's what the show is
Hmm.
about. This is nothing to do with any agenda or a particular topic. So, like every time,
Hmm.
I'll also since you have joined now, so my disclaimer usually is the conversations that we have in these sessions are purely
Hmm.
personal viewpoints that we share. We are open to share anything that we believe in, we experienced, we are aware of, and
Hmm.
that is it. It is not to kind of promote something. It is not a propaganda. It is not authenticated, detailed research or any kind of we are not kind of authorities on any subject. Neither I will never claim to be one on anything.
Sure.
So
Hmm.
it's a casual conversation. So that's
Yeah.
about it. Great.
Yeah.
So Vigyananand has been a very, very important part of my life. And
Sorry.
that is, are you able to hear?
I think the first word I just missed. What has been a very important part of your life?
You.
Oh, me. Okay. Yeah. So I missed you. Okay. Sure.
Yeah. A little, I don't know if
Yeah.
the maybe
Network
it's a
glitch, I guess
network,
it was. Yeah.
little network glitch.
Hmm.
So, and I'll also say why you were a very important part of my life. I think because one is that this exact same thing that we are doing is
Hmm.
something which we have done since a long time. It's not something
Yeah.
which is happening today and we are suddenly speaking today. We have spoken to each other, we have discussed so many things. Okay.
Hmm.
And it has contributed and enriched kind of my life, my work, my way of thinking, my perspective towards different things in many ways. And I think I really appreciate that. So I can safely call you as my friend, philosopher, and guide to a great extent, and also
Okay.
troubleshooter because that is more technical part.
I know. I know
So
the go-to tech guy also. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of it. So and I think that is kind of enlightened me in many ways, in more ways than one, and I'm happy that it did.
Hmm.
So you have a very interesting lifestyle, okay, and
Okay.
which is the first tag that is there, which is yogi, author, and traveler. So
Right.
I think let us start with the first one. And
Hmm.
how did you become a yogi? Like, where did you start? I mean, I know it's not like a process, but
Yeah.
what's your first recollection of this kind of interaction?
I think the first one was long, long ago. As a child, my father, he used to travel a lot. So, we'd go and stay in these ISKCON guest house. And he's always been a life member over there. And every morning around 7, 7:30, across all of their centers, they have this particular bhajan they play, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamam Hum Bhajan. Somehow, every time, even as that little kid, as an infant, whenever I heard it, it just mesmerized me. I didn't understand what it's saying, what does it mean, but just the words and the tune mesmerized me. And slowly growing up, I used to join my parents for their kirtans. And somehow I always felt that those kirtans would give me the most satisfaction, that contentment which maybe I didn't get anywhere else. Even if compared, whenever I thought, and again, that same experience to me was no, that is my most profound experience. Now, I didn't know why or should I be going more into it because nobody else around me is doing it. So why should I just pursue it? It's something occasionally to be done. Like, you go to different cafes, different restaurants, you try different books. Just like that, it is also one of the subjects to try. So for the longest time, it was like that for me. But yeah, that was my first interaction and the first fascination.
Just wanted to check one thing here. Also on the
Hmm.
technical bit, I think your voice is kind of still like kind of cutting off in between. If one of
Right.
my audience can please comment on this, if it is so, or am I getting that interference? I would want the kind of his conversation to be more important and like be very flawless. So just wanted to check that. If any of you can comment, because what is happening is your voice is kind of going
What?
slightly
It's
okay,
clear,
but others
somebody
are
just
saying
said, I think.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Three
Okay.
people
I don't
just
know.
said, I
Maybe it
guess.
is a little bit of a,
Thank you, TA, for confirming. I think TA is also listening. Akanksha is
yeah,
there. So wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah,
Lot of my loved ones, they kind of participate. They have been very supportive. I
yeah.
have no idea what this is and
Mm.
how this is going to go, but I think each time I do one, I get a lot of appreciation and a lot of encouragement. And
Let me just say something here, KD. You
yes,
are one of the most sincere guys I know. Okay. And just on the base of the faith of your friendship, anybody would agree to have a conversation with you, no matter what platform it is.
thank
It's
you so
almost
much.
like, okay, KD has asked, so I don't have to think. I just want to go with him. It's just fun to be with him, to chit chat with him. So it doesn't matter the platform.
It is a
So I'm
great
glad
honor
you asked
to
me to
hear
join
that.
here.
Yeah, it's great honor, and I will always be very humbled with that. Uh, so, and the experiences and conversations I have had with you, even though we have not spoken directly about spirituality or the
Mm.
practice that you do, what is
Yeah.
your practice of spirituality? And but I have definitely seen that transformation as a outsider at some point. When I did not know you, I've still seen you.
Mm.
I've seen
Mm.
you in maybe a different kind of a form, and then I've
Yeah.
also seen you in another form and then another form. So there's been a like
Yeah.
sort of a graduation
Yeah.
in some way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the journey and the struggles of it, because I mean it's also a lot of struggle, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, it is. And the biggest challenge, I think, for my logical mind, like I did a mathematics honors, so I'm always like finding the reasons and logic and analysis and everything. So when I first found out that yes, all the peace and all the mental stability is good, but how will I sustain myself? I have just no idea because I had gone through the conventional ways and I realized that going through that manner, there are so many struggles. You're always trying to just manage things and make ends meet, and you fulfill one task and then the next is there. It just never ends. So, yes, even though when I started my yoga practices and meditation, with all the peace and calm, this thing worried me actually. And then I remember the first time I had to step out. See, till the time I was living at home, I had nothing to worry because I was not stepping out, I was not meeting people, I was not doing anything except for my practices, staying indoors strictly. So first thing that came up was the Kumbh Mela. Now I don't know, it was 2009 or 10. Now I don't remember. So my teacher, my Guruji, he told me that we'll spend at least 30 to 40 days in the Kumbh Mela. I said, wow, that's going to be expensive. He said, yeah, you should have at least 10,000 rupees on you. I said, seriously, 10,000 rupees? Where will I get 10,000 right now? Like whatever I had earned before is already invested in fixed places. Now I don't have cash in hand. And
Yeah.
I really don't want to bother anybody or trouble anybody by saying that, please give me some money because I'm an ascetic now. I'm a Babaji, give me money. No, that's not me. यार. हाँ मतलब कोई
Yeah.
चाय कॉफी पिला रहा है वो अच्छी बात है but see this is not happening. So I told my teacher frankly that, see, I don't have any money and I really want to go to a Kumbh Mela and spend time there, experience things. What should we do? And he's like, do you have true faith in whatever you're practicing? I said, yeah, so far I believe so. He said, then have faith, pray on it if you want, not necessary. Because he's always maintained one thing, that your needs and security is always provided by Mother Nature. You just have to have the faith. It's only your desires that make you run, that make you struggle, that make you do endless other things. It's not your needs
So true.
really that make you do so much.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, easier said than done. Like, that was my true feeling because it was my first time. And he's like,
Yeah.
hold on, be patient, young man. I said, okay. And you won't believe, like a week or 10 days later, a friend comes to me, says he wants to buy a book from PayPal from a writer in Europe. I said, great. Why didn't you buy it? He said, I don't have a card. And I remember you do still have credit cards. And can you make that online payment for me? I said, see, Baba, I don't have any bank balance anymore. So it might sound rude, but just hand me over the exact cash and I'll immediately make the payment for you so that I can put it in bank, because I
Yeah.
really can't afford a late payment right now because I don't have any money. I said, sure, sure, I've already got the cash. He said, sure, how much is the payment? And Katie, he tells me it's 10,000 rupees. So I didn't think nothing of it, because at that time I knew I'm paying in euros and the equivalent is 10,000 rupees. He handed me over the
Yeah.
cash. I made the payment online. Okay, all set and done. A week later, he calls me. Thank you so much. I got the book from courier, the one we ordered, and it's very important for me. Blah blah blah. I'm very grateful. I said, yeah, go ahead. And I was like, okay, I'll go ahead, deposit the money in my bank account, and everything will be done. Now, till date, I've saved that 10-year-old credit card statement, because after that, when I went and checked, that transaction was already nullified. I don't know. It was debited and it was credited the same day. And interestingly, it was my birthday also. And I'm like that.
Lovely.
Why is it happening on my birthday when 10,000 is the exact money that I need? I said, have I wrongfully taken anybody's money? But no, that guy wanted a book. He paid for it. He got the book. If the writer didn't get the money, why would he ship the book? Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know, somehow at that point, it felt that my need was fulfilled in a very, very weird way, because
Yeah.
10,000 was what I needed and it came to me. And I just happily took it and went for my first trip with my teacher. And after that, I've noticed that every time, even before the need comes, somehow or the other, the means are arranged. And I am utterly grateful to nature for that. No matter, like, who or what becomes the reason, somehow or the other, just things happen. So I realized if it's a need, then the means and provision would happen. That's about it.
Maybe sometimes we are not observant enough to kind of see those things. Sometimes they happen. They do happen
Mm,
for all of us, I'm sure.
mm,
And I'm sure they also happen in the very close vicinity. Maybe not to only me, but
mm.
maybe to somebody who is very close to me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes we choose not to see it. Sometimes we are not so observant. It can vary from very differently. Sometimes we are
So
also
true.
probably suspicious, like the same way you would also feel very doubtful that where exactly that money came from then. So yeah,
Yeah.
but it did,
Something's
and it
too
was
good to
quite
be true, you
quite
don't believe. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You can't accept that so much of good can happen. That too on
Yeah.
your birthday.
Yeah.
It's it's quite something to believe. But I think
Mm,
from that point, you have
mm,
come a very, very long way. It's been like a
yeah.
journey of how many years?
Almost what, since 2008. So 11, 12 years. Yeah, March
Yeah,
it has been 12 years.
yeah. So did you at some points feel like really giving it all up and like getting back to maybe pursuing a career somewhere, or you know like doing
See,
the things which everybody's doing?
that's one of the problem. See, every time I traveled, I've met friends as well as strangers. Okay. And I am not making this a comment on anybody in particular or in general also. It's just my observation. In some ways, I think I am cynical a little bit. But once I started on this journey, the more I moved, the more I lived, the more aware I became. I realized all the things that I was pursuing before, which people around me are still pursuing, are just not meant for me. So, in a way, what I'm trying to tell you here is, Giri, that there's nothing to come back to, because all the things I'd left behind, all the ways of my life that I'd changed, they just didn't seem inviting enough anymore. And not just mine, even when I'd met my friends, I've met a lot of people over the years, and of all ages also, of different age groups,
Yeah,
of different areas. And I realized that no, Baba, there is nothing that's so passionate anymore that these people are doing, that makes me feel that okay, maybe I'm not in the normal life and I should come back to normal life. No. But yeah, no doubt there have been many struggles. And a lot
Yeah.
of times things have went up and down. I had a major accident also in 2011, or other such things when you like something, you've learned something, and you're finding it's benefiting you in so many ways, and you try to share it with people maybe you care a little too much for, and you think that it can help them also the same ways, but a lot of times they don't reciprocate it to it the same way because maybe that is not their cup of tea. So it took me a lot of time to realize that not every path is meant for everyone.
Yeah.
Initially, I thought if it's
Yeah.
doing me good, then it's good for people I care about. But no, I
Yeah.
realized
Yeah.
no. Everybody
Uh,
has to carve their own way, their own pace, their own time. And just because I'm thinking so doesn't make it so. So that
Absolutely.
is one thing
Yeah.
I struggled with, that I was evolving at a different pace in a different, you can say, timeline, maybe a different area of thoughts I had. But not everybody was around me was on the same track. So that
Yeah.
sync, it took me quite a while to get there and to accept that let people be on their pace. Yeah.
I think it is also it's a beautiful thing you said because not many people can accept that. Like if somebody is following a certain faith or a practice or whatever, I'm not kind of making a generic judgment, but sometimes it is so inside you, you feel that this is the thing, this is the way, this is how it should be,
Yeah.
and somewhere subconsciously also, even if you don't want to proactively engage with people on that, but subconsciously we kind of keep pulling people towards it, that let's only do this and this is going to take you somewhere, right?
Mm.
And I think a lot of, I mean, it's not a comment on anything, but I think a lot of practices work like that. That's how they build a community.
Yeah.
That's how you kind of
Yeah.
get people to come together.
Mm.
And I think for you, if you are saying something like this, takes a lot of realization of various, experiences to be able to understand that everybody has their own pathway to even
Mm.
find spirituality.
Yeah.
They may not immediately find it. They might find when they're 60 years of age, or they might find when they're five years in age. It does
Precisely.
not matter. Yeah.
And in
It's
what way
not
they
like
will find it cannot be predicted.
exactly where they will find, in what experience it will occur to them, we have no
Yeah.
idea. Whether it
Yeah.
will be momentary also, it's not necessary that they will find and they will like take the path,
They'll just
right?
take the path. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It can just
They
be a
might.
small phase or small part of their
Yeah.
one trip of their life. Could be anything. But it took me a lot of experience, a lot of meeting people, a lot of its and buts, ups and downs to get to that point. Because by nature, I've always been very, you can say, gregarious a little bit, and a lot of anxious concern for people around me. Very quickly, I just want to provide a help or a solution. And sometimes I think I dive a little too early before even realizing that what is it that I'm supposed to do here. So yeah, that took a lot of trials and errors to probably get a little sorted. And even right now, I can't comment. Maybe people who are close to me or people who interact with me a lot can say better.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. So since you have, and this is one thing which I've always appreciated in you, is that you are always open to different kinds of spiritual experiences. It does not matter what it
Yeah.
is coming from, or what it
Mm.
entails. And as a result, you have also had many experiences. I have been very happily in some trips along with you, some part of that,
Mhm. Yeah.
and I really am lucky that I could have very little. Okay, this is like a drop in the ocean that you were
Yeah.
swimming, but
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
I've been very lucky to be a part of that. Uh, at any point, you have felt that you know you have felt a setback. You have felt that this is not going to work out anymore. I'm saying it from a perspective because we all feel that in different things we pursue, whether it's a passion or
Mm.
a profession or a relationship or anything, we
Mm.
we get a setback. So
Mm.
how have you like come kind of come out of it?
Countered it or come out of it, you mean?
Yeah, how
Right.
yeah how have you
See,
counseled yourself?
Right, right. It's very relatable and, very what you've asked. So see, Katie, the whole philosophy that my teacher has taught me, okay, the very base of it is that we are constantly running with some thoughts, some emotion, some desire, some wish, some feeling, but there is something constantly running. But before we start running, and after we have run with that thought, there is that same you that remains. So before you start something, you are that. While you're doing it or pursuing it, you're still that. And once it ends, even after that, you remain the same. So what he's always taught me is to practice to be thoughtless as and when I can. Of course, while actively physically engage in something, you have to bring your eyes, ears, brain, everything in focus there. But rest of the time, this is what I practice a lot. Now, whenever there was been a setback, now as and when, if there has been a setback, with the setback, that thought comes that even that setback is a thought. Why am I giving it importance? While my whole, the whole fundament behind the philosophy my teacher has taught me is that don't run with your thoughts. Get into that thoughtless state of your mind. Realize that state that you can only experience in deep sleep, but there's no awareness in deep sleep. The self-awareness is gone. You are like unconscious. Even if there's a snake lying next to you, you won't realize it. You won't fear it either. So that is what been the aim, that to get to that profound thoughtlessness, but with constant self-awareness that yes, I am there. So that is one reason that none of the downs, even for the ups for that matter, my teacher says that no, it's not just about setbacks. Even if you feel that you just gained a very heightened, very enlightening experience, don't value it too much. Because if you are going with the high, then be sure that you will come down.
Yeah.
So even during the highs, he says, practice that equanimity. Practice that yes, I'm not running with any kind of thought, whether it's of excitement or dullness. So that is how it has helped me, and that is what my every morning meditation practice teaches me, helps me with.
So I'll come to a very silly question. So I have
Yeah.
a habit of doing some silly questions, and I think such a deep and elaborate thought, what you kind of just expressed, let it sink into all of us also a little bit. I would want the audience to hold this thought, kind of let it rest. Not have to do anything, not have to act on it, whatever, but just keep it. And uh, so that's the beauty of these conversations, right? I mean, we don't have to kind of do something here. So
Yeah.
yeah, but the silly question is that
Hmm.
what do you do in the whole day? So that's the what's your routine? Like, like when do you what do you start with, and how you kind of go about it.
See, from I'm pretty sure from anybody else's point of view, my routine is very boring. Okay, very boring.
Yeah, so let's
Yeah,
let's hear the
it
boring
excites
part.
me. That's why I do it. But yeah, so I have a very deep fondness for the dawn, the time before sunrise. Okay, and no matter where I am, where I travel, what month, what season it is, I always try to make sure I get up before the sunrise. And that is the prescribed or the ideal time, or over the years of experience I've realized, yes, it is the most suitable time to meditate also. Yes, you can meditate in the rest of the day also, but that is the golden hour. It's also
Okay.
called the Brahma Muhurat in our scriptures, referred as. So I get up at that time and I meditate for an hour, little more. I'll do a little bit of my pranayam. Sometimes I even feel, honestly, I just get filled with joy at that time. And right in the early morning, I'll start singing one of the bhajans or kirtan with my close right, because it's just a kind of high, you can say, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a trip. Okay. And around then, maybe after sunrise, then I go, get down, make myself a hot cup of tea. And I was lucky that this time during winters, I had good stock of, I was missing you for that. I had good stock of coffee beans. Okay. So every
Oh,
morning I
lovely.
would get down and prepare a good espresso. In fact, what? A flat white I would prepare for myself, big mug. Come back, sit in my balcony, enjoy that coffee. Then whatever rituals or basic things I do. And after that, I'll again get on to my basic stretching, few basic yogasana, pranayam. So this morning part is spent like that. After that, I usually go down to prepare tea for the rest of the family.
Yeah.
Then I spend some time having tea with them or discussing if there are any tasks to be done today, if I am needed to be involved or not. Once
Yeah.
all that is done, I come back and, as I told you before, that for the past, I think, 12 or 13 months, I am actively doing weight training at home.
Mm.
I'm quite, you can say, enjoying it. It's also helping me recover my uh, long ago accident injuries. So for an
Okay.
hour or so, I'm actively doing my weight training after that. And once I'm through with the weight training, I'm so utterly exhausted that, yeah, I
Yeah.
for some time, like, I just relax. And I'm I take a bath very late. Like, I
Mm.
don't take a bath before 10 or 10:30. Usually it's the last thing in on the morning in my agenda, because
Okay.
like, for a lot of people it's like you take a bath, you feel fresh and active for the day. For me, no, bath is not like that. For me, if I've done my meditation, that's my bath enough. I'm fresh and active.
Okay.
But yes,
Yeah.
it's a physical need, so it comes like, okay, I have to go eat my lunch now, so just before that I will go for my bath usually.
Yeah.
And around 10:30ish, 11ish, I will have my lunch. Oh,
That's
you
when
sure
probably
you
we usually have breakfast.
no, I skip breakfast. My breakfast is usually just the morning tea or coffee what I've had. You
Yeah.
sure you really want to go into such a elaborate and boring daily schedule
No, no, please keep going on. I'm sure a lot of people are enjoying hearing this different routine.
and
This is
and
also
getting a laugh
sort of
also?
no,
Yeah, so
whichever way. I mean,
I just have two meals a day. One is this
yeah.
morning 11ish or so, and the other one is around what 7 in the evening. So 11 and 7 is usually my two meals. I have morning tea around 6, as I said, and evening tea nowadays it's 3 to 3:30 between. So yeah, once I've had my lunch, if there are little bit anything to be done, I help around dad, mom, or anybody, or anything that is to be brought from the market. Once I'm through, I come back to my room. Then I spend some time either if I want to read something, and reading doesn't necessarily mean heavy spiritual stuff all the time. No, no, no. You know it very well. I'm very fond of technology, very fond of IT. So
Yeah.
anything that tickles my fancy at that time. Sometimes,
Yes.
even if it's a life story of a philosopher or a spiritual person that has been before, or somebody's philosophies or serious book, or something absolutely about technology, I'll just spend
Yeah.
some time reading. I am listen to Spotify. As you know, I've shared a lot of music with
Yes.
you over the years.
Yes.
So yeah, that'll be the
Absolutely.
time I'll play some music, listen to or read, and hour or two like that. Then I usually take a nap of an hour or so before my evening tea time. Then evening tea time would happen. Then again I would go down. Then again help out with any chores that are required. And after the chores, usually around 6ish, me and my mom, we do kirtan. So
Okay.
today, since I had to join here for at 6, we did it at 5 o'clock. So I told her that, see, we've already fixed time. She said, yeah, yeah, I'm open to it anytime.
Uh,
So we
Thank you
shifted
so
our
much.
time from 5 to 6. And
Thank you for accommodating us.
No. I wanted to do this. So
Hmm.
usually 6 to 7 that kirtan happens.
Yeah,
Then 7 o'clock again is dinner time.
yeah.
After dinner, I think it's usually by, like these days it's been locked down. So sometimes me, my family, like my brother, father, mother, we even spend some time playing cards after dinner. Like as a
Oh,
winding up,
nice.
all four of us will
Yeah.
just play cards for some time. And
Hmm.
after that, it's like, yeah, get back to room and sleep off by 9:30, 10ish maybe. Sometimes it even
Hmm.
gets to 10:30, but not later than that.
Hmm. Hmm. I think doing these very maybe so-called mundane or ordinary little things like playing cards, like playing something very simple, not
Hmm.
very elaborate or not to achieve something difficult and great. Uh,
Hmm.
I think these are important things one needs to do.
Right.
And like I also want to kind of share with the audience that he's very non-compromising about his dinner time, so which is exactly exactly going to be at 7.
Yeah.
So I have a digital clock right here in front of me to keep a
Yeah.
watch on that. You're my guest, I can't have you like get upset about it.
Yeah, you're already not offering me any coffee over here, and then you're gonna make me miss my dinner also. Not accepted, KD. Just not happening
Yeah,
today.
I hope to make up. I hope to make up with something else.
Yeah.
Some goodies when you come to Kolkata.
I know one of your ginger biscuits. The
No, no,
bake farm
more
biscuits
than
you
that.
often get. Yeah.
More than that. More than that. I
Okay.
know how much you are into baking these days. I'm not getting into that topic because a lot of people then I want to ask about recipe and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
So
And the kind of
yeah,
things I'm making,
you can
vegan or not.
yeah, he's researching and baking. It's not like, I mean, he's not somebody who will just like go and bake. Of course, he
Yeah.
will
No, no.
do a lot of reading and research and figure out a lot of stuff. And going
Yeah.
by his brother's appreciation about what all he is baking, I can guarantee you that it's some really good stuff which all of us are missing, including me.
Mm-hmm.
So you can write to him directly if you want the recipe, and he will
Though,
choose
by the way,
whether.
those yesterday's caramel slices turned out to be really good. Really good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was telling my wife that he's just gone into making some caramel slices. So
Yeah.
I think that will encourage her to make something this week, this weekend.
Okay. Okay.
It does not encourage me at all. So, so anyways, I think there's one more thing which you do, and that is
Mm-hmm.
something which I'll come to right now, is that
Mm.
you write, and
Yeah.
I want to kind of uh, I want you to kind of reflect on that. That one is that let us talk about what you write, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't want to kind of categorize it in any way or something like that. I have seen
Mm.
you writing about various things. I've seen you also writing about extremely technological, like review kind of stuff. I've also
Mm.
seen you write about very ordinary things which happen in life and make a lot of sense. And I have also
Mm.
seen you writing about spirituality, maybe
Right.
quite an elevated version of it. So if you can share some of your writings and also kind of tell us what you write about, because these are my interpretations. I just kind of saying whatever I thought.
See, I'm very fond of Ghalib, right?
Yeah.
Like I've read a lot of Ghalib and all the translations. Obviously, I don't understand the language directly. So before anything, I just want to quote one Ghalib over here.
Yeah,
It
please.
says, आते हैं गैब से ये मजामी ख्याल में गालिब सरीर खामा नवाए सुरोश है. So here Ghalib is talking about the quill that he uses to write. Now, obviously, I don't have a quill. Maybe I haven't even seen a quill in my life. So I would go
Yeah.
with my typewriter over here. The
This is
keyboard that
like
we
a
use.
quill. This is a quill, and it's in
Right.
a very bad condition. Rajat gifted it to me.
Okay.
If
I think Rajat is also there in the conversation.
yeah, probably yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
So I have never
Sorry.
used a quill, so I would go
Yeah.
with my keyboard. So these lines says that when I'm writing, see, I write only online. So when I'm writing, the sound of the keys that I'm pressing, the sound of the quill which the Ghalib was writing. So he's saying that sound of the quill is just like angels are speaking something in his ear. They are guiding him to write whatever he's written. He's trying to say here is that these words that I commit to this form to present to you are not mine. They just come to me कि फरिश्ते कानों में कुछ बुदबुदाते हैं और मैं तो बस वो लिखता चला जाता हूँ. So writing to me also actually came like that. Before that, I was never. I might have written on these tech sites once or twice, or maybe more than that. But this whole experience writing came much later. Maybe with traveling, with meeting so many strangers, and listening to so many different kind of life experiences and sharing with them. So those observations, basically, whatever used to happen, and somehow collectively of the way I am seeing life and the way I see the world going about their life, they would just form something like, yes, randomly I would feel that, yes, I want to write today. And the words would just come out. I don't formulate that. Most of the time, I don't even edit it. Later on, people tell me about the errors that I've done. And I just post it after that. That it's a just free flow of thought. Obviously, I try to like revolving around a certain topic only. So yeah, if you want, I can read here one of my old blogs.
Yeah? Absolutely.
So this one is from 2017. Okay, November 30th, 2017. I'd written. Okay. So this one is called The Power of Thoughts. Okay, I'll look at this screen here and read.
Yeah, please, absolutely, no problem.
Okay, here it goes. Our whole individuality is the bundle of thoughts in our head. Some people have even researched on the average number of thoughts that go through our mind in a day. The common fact remains that we are surrounded by them all the time, while we are awake or asleep. There are few exceptions that we all experience, no matter who we think we are, what we do, where we come from, what we learn or unlearn. There is zero awareness of existence of thoughts in our deep sleep, the duration of which nobody seems to have any control over. Then there are moments of extreme focus or ecstasy, driven either by our task or our indulgence in the subject at hand, where nothing else remains except for the subject in front of you. I have heard and read many times that people confuse it to being in the present moment. And I believe it to be very far from the truth. As in my experience, the purest present moment has no association whatsoever. It renders you naked, void of everything tangible and sentient. It leaves you just with you, yourself, absolutely and completely. If you say, I was fully aware and present in that moment, that you don't need a crutch to be you. You were just you. Something could have definitely been a trigger, but it wasn't necessary to be dependent on it any further. In fact, that present moment and all that awareness can be prolonged and benefited only when it's not dependent on a cause. It's like our professional or personal ambition can drive us in search of life's best moments, the kind of ones people often like to reflect when alone or in their favorite company. But whenever you like to summarize, you think of these moments. Our liking and fondness, which is essentially formed by our thoughts, ultimately always seeks to lead us towards these moments of absoluteness. Yet right after that, we are back again in our sea of thoughts. It's like working your way up to Mount Everest. It takes many, many days and efforts. Then you reach the summit for a short span of time, which is your best moment, the best highlight. And after that, you make your way back to your camp, taking many, many days and efforts again. Now imagine and remember the experience of your summit. What made it so complete, so profound, so alive, and so absolute? Every relation that we have, whether with people or the objects around us or the situations that we handle, it is ultimately a relation made and run by our thoughts. It's like if you're talking to your best friend, then you're obviously not thinking of your mother or your school teacher at the same time. Yet every now and then your mind will wander to something or the other. As the thoughts that generate within are what links us to the likes and dislikes and all these dualities. The moment you wake up every day, the flood of thoughts connect you with everything and everyone you believe to know. Though our dreams can be most random, with no relation at all with our conscious mind at times. Sometimes there is a mix of the known and the unknown. It's a strange and incomprehensible way of our mind to defragment and compile all the data it has stored. If certain thoughts take precedence over all the others in those moments, that person can achieve great things, which nobody, including himself or herself, was once sure of. I believe if there is anything around that can be labeled as great at certain level by majority of people, then it was achieved by such a constant flow of thoughts which was relentless, or unhindered by anything else. It was by this firm resolve of not letting your thoughts wander into anything that negates them or the goal, not seeking temporary distraction or avoiding if there are any, whether favorable or unfavorable. Amazingly, all this surety, determination, focus, distraction are ultimately a type of thoughts only. What are we? Now, this is my favorite part, like the conclusive of our article. What are we without these thoughts? Where do we stand without them? What is our identity, individuality, and knowledge without our thoughts? If we are devoid of these thoughts, then could we still be considered sane? How different will our experience be of these subjects that we have known or new ones if there were no thoughts to back them up? In fact, will there still be something called an experience if there are no thoughts behind, before, during, and after? Well, I'm not suggesting any vague conception of ending your thoughts or even remotely aiming for it, as I think that life and world as we know will cease to exist for us if there were no thoughts which bind and associate us. What I do know for certain are deep sleep, which happens in a state of unconscious mind and for uncertain duration, but is necessary for all of us to be alive and function normally. It is a state of complete thoughtlessness, as it is where we are not even associated with our body and things happening around it. If this state can be relived every day by us with a conscious mind, with full awareness of your being, yourself, then many queries, questions, and riddles can be unraveled about our existence, its actual purpose, our journey, and its inevitable end. I have come to experience a most profound joy, clarity, peace, and stability in these moments of conscious thoughtlessness, the effects of which affect and last even while we actively involve ourselves with our day-to-day functions. It seems to boost your ability and focus. It negates all unnecessary and unwanted, unsolicited effects that we have from various incidences of our life. It renders our outlook and perspective in a way that it feels constantly fresh and renewed all the time. There is something extremely beautiful, if I may say so, about being aware and conscious while thoughtless at the same time. It is not something that can be put into words, as there is no mind without thoughts, and hence it's not an experience of the mind. It's just you, purely and truly you. It takes a while to get there, and a lot of patience is required, as the river of thoughts can be extremely challenging. This sea is full of myriad possibilities, but what's beyond surpasses everything this sea can offer and more. Life and world comprise of this sea which we know and experience by our thoughts. But I believe beyond these thoughts is where we actually truly are ourselves. I hope that was
Beautiful.
not too long.
No, it's not about the length. I can sense so many people probably actually deep in thought, their own thoughts, kind of reflecting on what you're saying. And I really wish we could have like had a actual session, like a real life session where people come and they sit and they just listen to what you are reading. I'm sure
Yeah.
that would have been quite a life-changing experience, and that's the power of your writing also in many ways. And
Yeah.
I would
Thank
want
you.
to tell the you're most welcome, and thank you for sharing something like this with us. I'm sure, and I will look forward to that we get to read more of you. I don't want to see a book. Many people will just jump at this thing that, oh, let's like do a book, or when are you writing a book, or whatever it is. I don't think it should be a book. It should come from your mouth, and the voice
Yeah.
that you speak in, and like the fact that you are speaking it has a
Hmm.
different kind of an impact. Me reading it
Correct.
in a book will not have this, and that's the beauty of this also, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so I want to kind of say something here that I have read more of you. I mean, this
Hmm.
is one. You can actually share one more. I mean, yeah, we can manage a little bit of time. I'm watching.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Okay.
The clock is here with me.
Fine.
We're at
This is one of my.
6:48.
Okay. This is one kind of quite favorite of mine in a way, because after I'd written, like, it has a lot of. I derived it from one of the games I enjoyed playing at some point. So this one is called the Poker of Life. Okay.
Okay.
And it might be slightly difficult for people who have never known what poker is. So this was written in 2013. Okay. So here it goes. Okay. Life is a casino where a never ending game of poker is being played by everyone. Nature is the dealer here. There are many different tables with range of bets varying. Some are public and some have reserved admittance only. Different aspects of life are covered as different tables here, such as family, profession, friends, socializing, sports, adventure, hobbies, etc. The bets keep increasing and decreasing. There is minimum bet on some tables, which is very high, and on some tables, the maximum bet is fixed. Every now and then, somebody goes all out on a table, hitting the max, and is thrown away from here. You see a constant competition amongst the players to reach to a certain table to play, to have more and more acquisition and recognition. Some succeed and some fail. Some keep returning to particular tables even after having lost everything there at some point. And some never return to the same table after their first attempt. You last on some tables for very long, and sometimes you barely sustain one game. Some people keep borrowing and some people keep lending, whereas some just love to watch this misery. It's funny to watch all this combined as a spectator, to watch people engulfed in superiority of their tables and the jealousy and inferiority of others. No matter how much you win or lose, how many times you win or lose, and however long you play on a table or keep shuffling amongst other different tables, the owner of this casino decides, irrespective of your gameplay, to just tell anyone, sorry, your time is up. You can't play any longer. You can't even redeem the chips at the counter. You just have to leave the casino empty handed. Whatever you borrowed or lent remains behind. No matter what relations you had developed over the years of gaming on different tables, or just are just left behind uselessly. You can never come back here. Now, everyone knows this rule of death here, and they are still constantly fighting, struggling, making efforts to improve their game or play on higher tables with more people. I wonder if any of it really matters. Eventually, all players get tired of playing, no matter in what state, status, level, or table. No matter how much you were enjoying your win or grieving over your loss. No matter how many people you were playing with, how pathetic your game was going, or you were having the best time. They all get tired. Hence, they have to take mandatory breaks, frequently enforced by the dealer, duration varying as per your need, but you have to take a break every day, that's for sure. It's something we otherwise know as sleep. People constantly keep planning their next game of strategies or alliance even during this break. It seems nobody's willing to relax. Some players are very clumsy and lethargic, always looking for an easy hand, whereas some are over enthusiastic, very ambitious. Nonetheless, they're all totally indulged in some game or the other. After being a player for myself for years and years, I saw that playing is endless and futile. It doesn't really make a difference how good or bad you play, how much you earned or lost, how many people you know or which tables you play on, what tricks you learned, what tips you have, how much experience you have gained, all of it mundane and inconsequential. I learned that it's much more fun to just watch people play here and not to exhaust myself at any table. To be just a wanderer in this casino of life and not a player. Some call me crazy, some call me fool, some call me lost, some have even called me a loser, whereas there are plenty of others who love my company like you, Katie, here, when they're shuffling between tables. It helps them get fresh ideas and perspective, which at times improves their gameplay, or they just love to share details of how their game has been going, what plans they have for their next hand. The more they realize it, more they seek to talk to me when shuffling, but rarely actually anyone asks what made me quit and what I intend to do now. I used to be a decent player, at least sustainable. Rather, often being overwhelmed with their solicitude, they make baffling demands or inquiry as to how long do I intend to stay away from the tables, as or it's just or is it a must to play on some table to stay inside the casino? I tell them otherwise, that it's a secret, but I've learned that it's not mandatory to play over here. These players are not oblivious to the relaxed state of my being. Even they agree that they value this sense of calm and peace a lot, which I've found, and are devotedly seeking it on some random table. I just smile. I ask them that would it be all right if the owner threw you out of the casino right now? It scares them. They always have some pretext or goal or ambition to let them play for some more time. And I just smile again. Nowadays, I even say sometimes that I've been granted an appointment with the owner of this casino, whom nobody has ever seen. He might just randomly call me at any point. And if I'm found playing at that instance, I might miss my chance or that opportunity, as he doesn't accept any excuse. You have to be absolutely free from all the tables, then only he will meet you. Yes, helping players in any way while they're shuffling between tables is not considered a preoccupation. I just love doing it. It may seem like a waste of time to a lot of people who are busy in their games, but to me, it sounds like the most exciting idea. Who knows what all prospects and possibilities might there be when I finally get to meet the man? I'm just happy waiting, just like you are happy playing. I don't think that should be a problem to anyone. That's it.
Okay. Uh, I I hate to say this, but I think Instagram kind of switches off exactly at 1 hour. Okay, so that's
Wow.
the other part of it.
Right.
So I don't know if in between this entire thing will kind of always shut down all of a sudden.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
But thank you so much for sharing with us. There were requests of your travel stories to
Right.
be kind of shared and kind of discussed, but
Uh-huh.
I don't. I think we are at 6:55 at the moment exactly,
Wow.
right?
So we barely have
Yeah,
5 minutes, I think. Hmm.
we barely have 5 minutes, and I think since I started the session slightly earlier than you joined, it is going to
Hmm.
all of a sudden end. So if it
Yeah.
ends, or before it ends, thank you so much
Let it be.
for
Yeah.
yeah. So coming to me,
So maybe
talking to
maybe
me.
uh, I'll try to end it if you suggest with one of the last year's trip experience, and maybe if it ends, it ends. Or you want to
20
say something else?
seconds is showing me 20 seconds.
Oh, that's it. Oh God. So maybe for the next time, maybe.
Yeah, I think let it be a little unfinished session. We will kind of connect
But
back again.
see, it's not just.
Okay, so this is exactly what happens every week. I am really trying my best to kind of fit in this session within an hour. I'm not so sure if Vigyan Anand will join back, but just wait for maybe we'll just wait for a couple of minutes. Although this is exactly his dinner time, so okay, I think he's around. Bye to him properly, and then we finish today. Very important to maintain time with him. I'm trying to get him online. Not so sure if he's here. Is he here? Are you here? Can we just quickly say a nice bye bye to you? And then you can go. It's exactly 7. Yeah. Okay. Just
Oh,
wanted to say a proper goodbye to you. I'm so
all right.
sorry. Yeah, this
Oh,
happens.
okay. Okay.
I have to really fine tune my conversation to fit into that 1 hour slot. Okay, so
Right.
really try. But thank you so much to be a part of this, and so generously sharing your thoughts and your writings. I
I
am
hope I was
sure.
not too candid in it.
Yeah, that was the whole point. People are still watching, right? So like that's the whole idea of it. That's the idea, and it's beautiful. I think I really enjoyed. It was
Hmm.
extremely refreshing for me to hear all of this from you. We will definitely try to do one more episode when we hear about your travel stories. I'm sure there's a lot of it, and I don't want
Hmm.
you to kind of keep away from dinner now. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, Kitty.
bye
Thank you
bye.
so much.
You take care. Bye.
As
Thank you so
always.
much.
Bye.
Bye bye. Okay, so that's it. That's it for this week. For the next session, for the next episode, I will let you guys know when I want to do it. I don't want to make it like a Saturday thing, like I was just mentioning before, also, that I don't want it to become like a weekly, like a schedule or weekly kind of a timetable that it has to happen on a certain day at a certain time. It is not a channel. I'm not bound to kind of run by any particular time or need of the whole thing. These are sessions where the conversation has to be also enjoyed as much as by me and my guest, as much as by all of you, and that's very important to happen. And let's do it at ease. We all are kind of at the moment really concerned, and we are stuck in our own spaces. We are really struggling to kind of find some sort of peace of mind or some sort of a direction in between so many things. So uh, I understand that, and I also know that I also have my share of it. So uh, we will we will come back again whenever we come back. You'll all get to know. I don't want to make it too long a gap also. We will do it periodically. I promised I'll do at least 3 or 4 every month. So that is going to happen. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. And I will see you when I see you. Okay. Bye bye.